Hi, I'm so glad you could join us for our conversations about the liturgy of the High Holidays as we celebrate this month of Elul as we approach our High Holidays. I'm glad to have this opportunity to join with Chazan Elizabeth Berkey and Chazan Alberto Mizrahi for a conversation. We're going to be talking about the Tokef, which is the most powerful prayer in our liturgy, according to most people. That moment when we stand as a community before an open ark and we acknowledge that on Rosh Hashanah it's written, on Yom Kippur it is sealed, Mi Chaya Mi Amut, and that whole litany of calamities of which we have no control. We feel our frailty. We feel the temporal nature of our human existence most powerfully. But this year I have a sense that amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, we're going to experience this prayer in an even more profound way. And Liz, I was wondering if you had given some thought to that.
I always find this, I think of it as a page. It's an experiential page that we have as part of our Musaf. And I always come to it differently every year. And this year in particular, it will be colored by our context and this pandemic. And, I have distinct memories as a child of standing and listening to Untitled Chapter and the refrain of Rosh Hashanah. And as I have the privilege of leading this moment and so sort of facilitating this moment for the community, it feels, there's a weight to this page. And in this year's context, I don't know that I'm honestly prepared for what it will feel like, because in the moment it's just strong, just being able to say these words and being present for the community. But I do feel like this year it will be particularly powerful.
I assure you that none of us is fully prepared for this.
Yeah.
But the words are powerful in and of themselves, but the music touches us. It goes to our kishkas and it just holds on and it won't let go. And I'm so interested in the choice of Givatron and a rock band from Israel, which makes up part of our musical tradition here at Anshe Emet. Alberto, we'll talk a little bit about that and your sense of the music of Untitled Chapter.
I've been a cantor for 50 years now, 30 here at Anshe Emet. And I've sung many Untitled Tokefs, but my favorite for the longest period of time was written by Leo Lov, a very famous composer, and I heard it from Moshe Kazavitsky. So it's sort of like, who would you think is the greatest of anything? He would be the greatest cantor maybe that ever lived. That's not exactly true. That's Yossele Rosenblatt, okay, and some others. But the fact that I did mostly Chazanut in those days with the choir, and it is so, the grandeur of it sometimes makes you forget what the words are saying, because the music overcomes it.
Right.
And when I heard the Givatron, I went, what? Because he sings like a pop singer. But I heard also the pathos in his voice, and I said, this could have something to do. So when I brought it to the shul, I think it's the most popular thing we do. Everybody loves that thing, except for Hallelujah, of course. The pathos of his composition, I feel it in my heart.
It's almost operatic in a sense. You wouldn't think it's a rock musician.
You're right. And remember, we have all the other parts to a Untitled Chapter, the shofar gadol. You have, and then you got the
Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah Yikatevun, and that it's sort of we're doing a short opera. It's a short opera for the people, but when you realize the words, if you know what you're saying, I find that he deals with it in a questioning, a challenging, retaining of faith. Right. So he works on it that way. It's probably the most famous pop song that ever made it into the high holiday
There's no question.
music. There's no question about it. But he did it for a very interesting reason. I'm reading this only because I forgot the name of the kibbutz that he lives on. After the 73 war, kibbutz Bet Hashita had lost 11 of its men in the war. Yet Yair Rosenblum's setting of Untitled Tokef makes the connection between the ultimate sacrifice of so many in ancient times with the loss of the 2,656 Israeli soldiers during that tragic war. So that even made it more important for me.
So it contemporizes.
It contemporizes the history of Israel.
Within the liturgy.
Yes.
And yet the prayer comes to a crescendo with the words Utshuva Tfilat Tzedakah. Liz, what is it like to be a chazan and stand there and say those words which are so hopeful and are so empowering, really, for us as the community of Israel? What's that like?
It's hard to put into words what that's like, honestly. It's powerful. It's hopeful. It's the music that we use. I'm honestly not remembering the composer, unfortunately, but it's a setting that's, it has the chazan sing and then the choir repeat it in a very forceful way, and it's sort of saying, but look, this is possible. Like, you can turn over a new leaf. We don't have to be mired in this lowly place and think that there's no hope and no way forward.
So in a very real way, then, the chazan is an extension of the machzor, isn't it? And is giving voice to the machzor.
In saying that, I do not use Yair Rosenblum's Utshuva Tfilat Tzedakah.
Yeah.
Because I find it lets me, it makes me feel like, oh, is that all you got?
Because the one we do is so grand.
Yes, it is. And I think it needs a grandness, because after everything you've said the page before, if you've been reading that page, you're churning, you're going, oh my God, I have to think this is it.
So lift us up and let's hear Untitled Tokef.
Let's do it.
Tokef kedushat hayom, ki hu nora ve'ayom.
Uvu tinasei malchutecha, v'yikum b'chesed tnisecha,
ותשב עליו באמת,
v'teshev alet.
אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח ויודע ועד.
וכותב וסופר מונה.
ותזכור כל הנשכחות.
ותפתח את ספר הזיכרונות.
ומאליו יקרא וחותם יד כל אדם בו.
ובשופר גדול יתקע, וקוד מעמד הקיץ
וכל בואי עולם יעברון לפניך כבני מרום. וכל בואי עולם יעברון לפניך כבני מרום. כבקורות רואי דרו אמאוויר צאנו אמאוויר צאנו תחת שבטו מעביר צאנו אוי מעביר צאנו תחת שבטו.
Here